All right, so we're diving into cryptocurrency today. But
Yeah.
this isn't like all those other crypto things, like where it's all blockchain is the future, you know?
Right.
We're going deeper here, like way deeper with this book by Ben McKenzie. It's called Easy Money, Cryptocurrency, Casino Capitalism, and the Golden Age of Fraud. You know Ben McKenzie, right?
Yeah, sure.
The actor.
Mhm.
Well, it turns out he's got this whole background in economics,
Yeah.
and he's calling out all this like smoke and mirrors stuff in the crypto world.
It's really interesting, actually, like how McKenzie comes at this whole thing. He doesn't seem like he hates technology or anything, but he just really breaks down this idea that crypto is actually a currency.
Yeah.
Like he really challenges the word itself. He even calls crypto securitized air.
Securitized air. Yeah, I love that. So explain this to me. Why does McKenzie, and actually why do you think,
Yeah.
that crypto just doesn't work as a currency?
Okay, well, for a currency to really work, it needs to be stable, right? Like you need to know that the dollar you have today will buy like roughly the same amount of stuff tomorrow. Crypto is so volatile. It swings wildly in value. Can you imagine trying to like buy groceries with Bitcoin when the price can just drop 20% overnight?
Oh my God, yeah. That would be a nightmare for budgeting. And forget about businesses accepting it.
Exactly. Plus, normal currencies, they're tied to something tangible, like a government or assets, which gives them value. But crypto, on the other hand, it's often based on, well, nothing really. It's just code.
So it's like this faith-based system almost. Like people believe it's valuable just because other people believe it's valuable.
Yeah, a big part of it is. It's all about that psychology of speculation. Actually, McKenzie talks about this. He talks about how he tried crypto himself during the pandemic. He got caught up in the FOMO, you know, seeing everyone getting rich, that whole number go up thing.
Yeah. It's interesting. He's not just like observing from afar. He was right in it. So what were some of the biggest lessons that he learned from that? And how do those apply to like you or me, anyone who might be thinking about trying crypto?
Well, one of the big takeaways is you got to be careful about emotional decisions. When you see prices go off like crazy and everyone's talking about getting rich, it's easy to get caught up in that and ignore all the fundamentals, McKenzie realized. He was buying into the hype without really understanding what he was putting his money into.
Yeah.
So the lesson here is do your research. Don't let emotions cloud your judgment.
That's so important, especially with crypto. It's complex, it's volatile, easy to get blinded by the promises. But McKenzie doesn't just talk about individuals getting caught up. He went to these crypto conferences and he saw how the whole industry cultivates this sense of community, almost like a cult, just to fuel that FOMO. What do you think about that?
Well, he talks about how they use celebrities and influencers as a tactic. Think about it. You see your favorite actor or athlete endorsing some coin, and it makes it seem legit. You think, well, if they're in on it, it must be the real deal.
It's like that old saying, right? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But when you see someone you admire doing it, it's hard to stay skeptical.
Oh, absolutely. And this goes back to what we were talking about before, about crypto not having inherent value. These endorsements and the conferences and the whole online community, it's all about creating this perceived value, like a sense of scarcity and exclusivity, which drives up demand, and that drives up prices.
So it's all about this illusion of value, a self-fulfilling prophecy. And of course, where there's a lot of money and not a lot of regulation, there's always fraud.
Right. McKenzie talks about this concept called the fraud triangle to explain how fraud happens in places like the crypto market.
Okay, so break that down for me. What's the fraud triangle and how does it apply to crypto?
Okay, so the fraud triangle, it has three sides: need, opportunity, and rationalization. Need is the motivation. Like, why is this person doing this? Could be financial pressure or greed. Maybe they want status or power. Opportunity as well, the opportunity to commit fraud. Maybe there's no oversight or weak internal controls or easy access to assets. And rationalization. That's how the person justifies their actions.
Okay, so how do these three elements come into play with crypto?
Well, the need is usually pretty clear. People see others getting rich quick, and they want a piece of the pie. They're willing to take risks, even broke the law sometimes, to get ahead. Opportunities there too. Crypto is pretty unregulated. New coins and platforms all the time. It's confusing, so it's easy for scammers to hide.
And what about the rationalization? How do these people tell themselves it's okay?
Oh, there's a lot of ways. Some people really believe that crypto can change the world. They see themselves as pioneers, even if they're doing shady stuff. Others might think, well, everyone else is doing it, so it must be fine. And then some people, they just think they're too smart to get caught.
So it's a mix of desperation, naivete, greed, and there's no oversight. Plus, everyone wants to get rich quick. McKenzie doesn't just talk about this in theory, though. He gives some real examples of crypto fraud.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He talks about Tether, which was supposed to be this stablecoin, pegged to the US dollar, so a safe haven in this crazy, volatile market.
Wait, hold on. For those of us who aren't crypto experts, what exactly is a stablecoin?
A stablecoin is a type of cryptocurrency that's meant to hold a stable value. Usually it's pegged to a normal currency, like the US dollar. The idea is to give a less volatile option for trading in the crypto world.
Okay, got it. So what was wrong with Tether?
Well, McKenzie and his journalist partner, Silverman, they uncovered some big red flags about how Tether was operating. Their headquarters was overseas, their banking relationships were shady, and they wouldn't provide a real audit. It was basically impossible to tell if they really had enough money to back up all their tokens.
So like a bank that won't show you their records. Not a good look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if Tether were to, just collapse, it could have taken down the whole crypto market. Because, a lot of trading depends on these stable coins.
Like a house of cards on a shaky foundation.
Exactly. McKenzie also talks about Terra Luna, another big one, an algorithmic stablecoin project run by this guy, Duquan.
Okay, before we go any further, can you explain, what is an algorithmic stablecoin? How is that different from Tether?
Sure. So unlike Tether, which says it's backed by actual US dollars, algorithmic stablecoins use these complex algorithms and smart contracts to keep their value pegged to a target currency.
So instead of real assets backing the coin, it's all code and math formulas.
Right. In the case of Terra Luna, the algorithm was supposed to keep it at $1 by balancing the supply of two tokens, Terra and Luna. If the price of Terra went above $1, the algorithm would make more Terra and get rid of some Luna to bring the price down, and vice versa.
That seems so complicated and risky. What could go wrong?
Well, like McKenzie says, a lot can go wrong when you're relying on algorithms to keep things stable in a market that's this volatile.
So what happened with Terra Luna?
It crashed big time. Speculators started short-selling Terra. They bet the algorithm wouldn't be able to keep up. And they were right. The algorithm failed. Everything went down the drain. Terra and Luna both crashed.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars gone.
A classic speculative bubble.
Totally. And what's crazy is, even after this massive failure, K1 tried to start a new version, Terra Luna 2.0.
Seriously? After losing billions, he thought people would trust him again.
Apparently, yeah. And some people did invest. Despite all the warning signs, it just shows you how powerful hype can be and how hard it is to regulate this stuff.
It seems like a pattern. No regulation, complex financial stuff, everyone speculating, and then boom, huge losses for a lot of people.
Yeah, you're seeing that over and over in the crypto world. And this brings us to probably the most interesting guy in the book, Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF, the guy behind FTX. Remember FTX?
How could I forget? The collapse of FTX was massive. SBF went from crypto hero to, well, facing serious charges.
Yeah. McKenzie actually interviewed him before FTX went under. And he talks about this weird feeling, like SBF was trying so hard to seem like this responsible leader. But there were all these signs that something was off.
What kind of signs?
McKenzie describes SBF as fidgety, wouldn't make eye contact, avoided answering questions about how FTX worked, like he was playing a part, but the mask was slipping.
And then, of course, FTX crashed, billions gone, shockwaves through the whole crypto industry. What caused it?
It's a complex story. But basically, FTX was really close to Alameda Research, SBF's trading firm. And it turned out Alameda had been using FTX customer funds to make risky bets. They were propping up their balance sheet with FTX's own token.
So they were gambling with customer money on their own made-up currency.
Pretty much, yeah. And when people started to think that Alameda might be going bankrupt, panic set in, and everyone tried to withdraw their money from FTX, but they didn't have the cash. Classic bank run.
Then Changpeng Zhao, CZ, the head of Binance, FTX's biggest competitor, he said it was selling off all his FTT, which made the panic even worse.
Right. That was the final straw. In a matter of days, FTX went from one of the biggest crypto exchanges to bankrupt.
It's a crazy story. Arrogance, greed, no regulation. And don't forget, real people lost everything.
Absolutely. McKenzie tells this really sad story about Hal Henson. He was a pastor's father, lost everything to a crypto scam, and he even ended up taking his own life.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tell me about Hal's story.
Okay, so Hal, he got into online trading. First it was Forex, then crypto. He found this online community called Stallion Wings, and he was convinced he was going to make a fortune, enough to leave a big inheritance for his grandkids.
That's heartbreaking. He was just trying to do something nice for his family.
Yeah, he was. And he kept putting more and more money in, took out loans, borrowed from
And what
family.
happened?
Stallion wings turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. The early investors got paid with money from new investors, made it look like it was working. But then it all fell apart. Hal lost everything.
It's awful, and there are so many stories like that. People losing everything to crypto scams.
Yeah, it's really common. McKenzie uses Hal's story to show the human cost of all this fraud.
It's a reminder that this isn't just about numbers. Real people are getting hurt. It makes you think, is there something wrong with the whole system?
That's what McKenzie asks in the book. He thinks crypto is kind of a symptom of this bigger problem. Like, people don't trust institutions anymore. They're desperate for something new, and they want to get rich quick because of all this economic inequality.
It's like they want out of the system.
Yeah, and that's where crypto comes in. It promises to change everything, give people power, disrupt the old ways. But McKenzie says those promises hide a dark side.
So is there a solution? Does McKenzie offer any hope? Or are we just going to keep repeating this? Booms and busts. Speculation and fraud.
Well, he doesn't have all the answers, but he says now we have to be smarter about the information we consume.
Yeah, especially now. With all the echo chambers online, all the misinformation, it's so easy to get sucked in.
Exactly. McKenzie says, do your own research. Think for yourself. Don't just believe what you see on social media or what celebrities tell you.
That's hard though, right? There's so much information out there.
It is tough, but it's important. McKenzie also says you have to understand incentives. Like, who's making money from this? What are their motives?
Good point. And it's not just about individuals being careful. McKenzie says we need regulations. We can't let this Wild West stuff continue.
He's right. We need rules to protect people, make sure the markets are fair, and prevent these huge crashes. It's about finding a balance, encourage innovation, but stop the fraud.
It's a tough balance.
It is.
But we need to be talking about it.
Absolutely. The future of crypto is still uncertain. Our choices now will determine what happens.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
I think the biggest one is be skeptical of crypto and really any investment. Do your research, think critically, ask questions. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
That's great advice. And we should remember Hal Henson's story. This isn't just about money. Real people are getting hurt.
Yeah.
So be careful out there.
And remember, knowledge is power.
I love it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.